All right. First thing is first, and I'm not. I'm gonna kind of breeze over the review. You'll get the review as I speak. Um, I'll cover the comment sections when we get to the code. All right. The important thing to remember is that void loop. Hopefully, y'all remember that it runs over and over and over and over again. Void setup, which we'll get and you'll see the code, that only runs one time. And I do need to make a special note later on. So the first thing that should always be hooked up, and this is for this class and every other class, like you should always have this one wire hooked up, this ground wire. All right. In some of the tutorials you'll see up here, you'll have let me get the right pen color. You'll have the red wire connecting here like this. We're not going to always, right here. We're not going to always use that wire, so I will, and I don't want y'all to plug it in unless we're specifically going to use it. Because if you plug in the ground and the power for certain things, you can kind of short out your breadboard. It won't break it, but it will cause a troubleshooting error. But the ground wire, this one here, should always be hooked up. All right, let's continue here. So for this one, I am going to go ahead and break it down Blue's Clues style. And let me unplug mine. So what you should have out right now, is you should have one, that green wire should already be hooked up to ground. That should already be, or the negative power rail. And you should have out two resistors that are the 330, which is the orange, brown, gold, and two LEDs. Oh, hey, there's my LEDs. I was looking for those earlier. I had to get my own LEDs out. All right. So the first thing I want you to do is, okay, so let me clarify. Two red wires, two LEDs, and two of the orange, brown, gold resistors. Raise your hands when you have all that stuff out in front of you so I can know. Jay has his hand up. So that's two red wires, two LEDs, and two resistors. How many LEDs do you have plugged in, Tyson? Is it 8 or 2? As well as the grounding wire, yes. But the grounding wire, okay. The grounding wire is assumed from here on out. I won't mention the grounding wire. It should already be plugged in. All right. And raise your hands when you have everything else so I'll know. Wait, that's who we were missing. I was wondering who was missing. And Josh. Okay, a lot of people just showed back up. All right. So for those of y'all showing up late, you should have two red wires. Awesome, Wade. Two LEDs and two resistors that are orange, brown, gold. The ground wire, which is right here, this wire here, which is the green wire, it should already be hooked up. That one's going to be all automatically assumed that you have that hooked up, unless I specifically say otherwise. I don't think there's a reason why I will say otherwise. Not that I'm aware of, but if there is a difference, I'll let you know. Yes, this is the code from the other day, or this is the circuit from the other day, but we're going to do something a little bit different with it. And we're going to hook up two LEDs instead of one. And then hopefully we'll get to 8. We'll find out. All right, so we need, the ground wire should already be hooked up, first up. The green wire, this is a green wire. I know it's black here. But I want this green wire automatically hooked up, 2 red wires, 2 LEDs, and a orange, brown, gold resistor. There are 2 of those. And raise your hands when you have all that stuff out so I know I can move on. Mr. Roseman, I see you're having connection problems. So let me go over that again, and I'm going to go over that because Mr. Roseman's having connection issues. So you need the green wire, which should already be hooked up to ground. Any GND on your board. You should have a red wire, a two LEDs, and 2 resistors, which are orange, gold, or orange, brown, gold, which is 330 ohms. Now, thank you, Tyson. You're kicking butt there, but I'm going to hook it up slightly different from that. Actually, this is the circuit we're going to hook up. All right, Mr. Roseman, are you good? Can you hear me? All that fun stuff? Do you know what to pull out? I need to kick the old you out. How do I do that? There. All right. You need a red wire, a 2 LEDs, and a orange, brown, gold resistor. 2 of those. Any kind of LEDs. I don't care. I don't think I'll ever be color specific on LEDs. I don't know. I don't think so. So again, I'm going to walk y'all through this circuit a few times to make sure everything gets hooked up right. And then we're going to do a little bit of manipulating of the circuit so y'all can kind of understand a little bit more about what I'm doing and hopefully why. Positive is the long leg of the LED, correct, Jacob? All right, so I'm going to plug one end of the red wire into pin 10 and the other end of my red wire into a 1. So that's one red wire is in pin 10 of the Arduino. The other end is plugged into a 1. I'm going to take the long leg of the LED and plug it into E2 or E1. I'm sorry. The long leg of one LED goes into E1, while the short leg should go into E2. And then I want you to take one resistor. I want you to plug that into C2, and the other end to ground or the negative power rail. I will use ground, negative power rail, and 0 volts interchangeably with each other because they all mean the exact same thing. So if you hear me say ground, negative power rail, or plug it into 0 volts, they're all the same thing. Have it plugged. Don't plug in the Arduino yet. Just plug up the circuit. All right. So the second red wire, I'm plugging into pin 9 of the Arduino. And I'll go back over this again if you get lost. Pin 9 of the Arduino and A14. I'm going to take the long leg of the second resistor. I'm plugging it into E14 while the short leg goes into E15. The long leg of the LED goes into E14 while the short leg goes into E15. I feel like I'm playing bingo. One leg of the resistor, of your last resistor, I want you to plug that into, where have you plugged the other one? C15, and the other one into ground. The other one into ground. All right. Raise your hands when you think you have that. Let me know if I need to repeat it. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and repeat it, but raise your hands when you think you have it. All right. Well, if I see everybody's hands go up, I'm not going to repeat it. Tyson, you already have it? All right. Few people need me to repeat it. All right. Okay, Tyson. And that's fine. If you have all 8 plugged in, great. If not, that's fine too. And actually, thanks for that link. I might not use it. All right. So I'm going to go over that one more time. So I have one red wire plugged into pin 10 of the Arduino. Remember, pin 10's right here on the digital side underneath the reset. The other end of the wire is plugged into A1. The long leg of one LED is plugged into E1, while the short leg of one LED is plugged into E2. I have one leg of the resistor plugged into C2, and the other leg of that resistor plugged into ground. The second red wire, I have that plugged into pin 9 of my Arduino, and A14 of the breadboard, A14. I have one long leg of the LED plugged into, the long leg of the second LED plugged into E14, while the short leg is plugged into E15. I have one leg of the second resistor plugged into pin 15 or C15, Charlie 15, and the other leg plugged into ground. Mr. Wade and Mr. Jacob, y'all think y'all have that? Or Jacob Roseman, I'm sorry. Keep forgetting that there's 2 of you. One of y'all spelled your names with a capital J, and the other one spelled it with a lowercase j, so it kind of messes me up sometimes. Mr. Roseman, you got it, or do I need to repeat again? I'd rather repeat it again than you hooked up something wrong. All right. Did you log out? Yeah, I think you did log out again. All right. One more again. I got one leg, or I'm sorry, one of the red wires is plugged into pin 10 of the Arduino, while the other end of that wire is plugged into A1. The long leg of one LED is plugged into E1, while the short leg of another LED is plugged into E2. I have one leg of one resistor plugged into C2, and the other leg is plugged into ground. I have one end of the second red wire plugged into pin 9, and the other end of the wire plugged into A14. I have the long leg of the LED is plugged into E14, while the short leg is plugged into E15. One end of the resistor, of the last resistor, is plugged into C15, while the other leg is plugged into ground. Hopefully you are starting to see the pattern. If you already have it hooked up, go ahead and plug in your Arduino and open up the Arduino software. All right, and I'm going to do a few things slightly different from the slides because I've noticed the whole breadboard thing is still confusing people. So I think I got a good little exercise to kind of hammer it into your heads a little bit better. Jay said I sunk his battleship. You had a really weird position of your battleship, Jay. How you coming, Jake? Or Roseman? Mr. Roseman? All right, 1 second here. All right, Jake, do you have a mic, Jake? Let me see if we can shorten this up. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hey,
Yeah.
where are you at? Did you get the first part hooked up?
I'm not sure.
Okay. So here, I'm gonna keep you unmuted here, and I'm gonna walk you. What do you have plugged in right now?
I have a LED on E14 and 15, and then 2 red wires on 10 and 9, and 1 resistor. That's it.
Okay. So where's that one resistor at?
C2 and ground.
Okay. So take that red wire that's in pin 10 and stick it into
Yeah.
A1,
Alright.
and then you should have an LED connected between the resistor and the wire. Is that true? Do you have an LED right there at E1 and E2?
I do.
Okay. And you sure your long leg is in E1, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now the wire that's in pin 9, that should go to A14,
Okay.
and you should have the long leg of the LED in E14 and the short leg in E15.
Alright.
And then the resistor should be plugged into C15 and ground.
Okay.
And you do have the ground wire hooked up to your Arduino, right?
No.
Okay, pull out a green wire, and you're going to hook up this one, this black wire right here, just as it's shown here.
Alright. Okay.
All right, cool.
Is that it?
That's it. All right, so open up your Arduinos, and we're going to do something a little bit different here. So I want y'all to go, we're going to load up a similar code that we did last time. Now, the answer somebody's question. Who asked it? Jay asked, how I stop the blink order if it's still blinking, all right? Because we haven't uploaded different code, so therefore it's going to continue to do whatever it was doing last class. So we'll fix that here in a minute. All right. So you should have an empty sketch like this, right? And I'm going to go to File, Examples, Basic, and Blink. So that was File, Examples, Basic, and Blink. And I'm going to take this code. I've increased my font so y'all can see it, hopefully see it a little bit better. But we're going to use this code, but not use this code. So we're going to actually change this code up. So I want you to come to this code, the Blink code, hit Control A to copy it, or Control A to select it, Control C to copy, come back over here to this empty one and paste it there. All right, and let me know when you have that. Raise your hands, and let me know if I need to go back over. So that was go to open up Arduino. You should have an empty sketch. You go to File, Examples, Basic, and Blink. Just click anywhere you want to. Control A to select all. Control C to copy. And then come back over here to the blank one and hit Control V to paste it. Raise your hands when you have that. Josh Wade. Okay, for those of y'all that are waiting. Okay, yeah, I know that sometimes happens, Josh. All right. Now, y'all's codes might be a little bit different. You might have something like this. Miss Chelsea, yours are probably just like mine because you're using the one that was installed last time. For some reason, they changed the code. I don't know why. 13. So your code may look like this here. All right. You should be looking at my screen now if you're not. Even Josh, while you're arguing and loading. All right. So your code may or may not look like this, but if it does look like this, I want you to change it to this. So up here, I'm gonna write int LED equals 13. I know I put a T there. I have to get rid of that. Int LED, and then everywhere where you see 13, change it to LED. 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 Now, if you upload this code, and don't worry about, you can go ahead and upload it if you want to, but it's pretty much the exact same code we uploaded last class. It's not going to do anything. All right, it's not your lights ain't gonna light up, and you don't get the fancy light show. None of that. Reason being is because of the pin declaration that I did up here at the beginning. Now here I'm just saying int LED equals 13. Int stands for integer, which is whole numbers, which in Arduino is negative 30,000, somewhere around 30,000 to positive 30,000. And it's not a decimal. That's a key point to remember. Integers cannot be decimals. So anything you declare as an int has to stay as a whole number. And the LED. Now, remember, computers are stupid. They don't know what an LED is. They have no clue. They don't understand light yet. We will make them understand light. But right now, your Arduino doesn't understand what light is. So this LED is actually arbitrary. I can make this say anything I wanted to. And in this case, I'm going to say eagle. All right. So it doesn't matter that I said LED or eagle, as long as I keep using eagle down here. So as long as I change every LED to eagle, it is the exact same thing. The Arduino does not know the difference. It just says that, oh, you called something eagle and you associated with a number that's associated with a pin. All right, that's all that's all it cares about. It does not care about LED or PID or whatever name you put in there. Whatever name you put in there is what it is, and you just have to keep using that throughout. So if I upload this code, it does nothing because why? Because we're getting to the fancy light show, Mr. Tyson. Because here I declared it as 13, yet I had you plug it into 10 and 9. Now I know what you're thinking. Mr. Pearson doesn't know what he's doing. He's just messing with our heads, and, well, not really, not yet. I will mess with your heads. I'm just not doing that right now. All right, so we actually just have to change this pin declaration to 10, hit play, or hit upload, and then you should see one of your LEDs start to flash, but not your second one because we did not code for it. All right, so raise your hands when you have that first LED flashing on and off. And your code is similar to what I have here. And that int, if you change your name, I don't care what name you change it to. It can be any name you want it to be, just as long as it's not a curse word. Because I might ask to see your code. If I don't ask to see your code, I don't care what name it is. All right, you changed it. Can you turn me down a little bit?
Excuse me?
Can you turn me down?
Okay.
I have a little bit of an echo.
I tried to turn you down the most I could.
Okay. Yeah. All right. All right. So what? You changed the pin to 10.
I changed the int to 10, yes.
Okay, and your screen is not working. Is your long leg to where that wire from pin 10?
Excuse me?
So I know you have it hooked up slightly. So wherever that echo's killing me. All right, I'm going to put you on mute, and then I'll unmute you in a minute. Wherever you have that wire from pin 10, it should be going to the long leg of that LED. The long leg, and I see your comment, Jacob. Mr. Murray. The long leg should be plugged into wherever that wire is, while the resistor should be plugged into the short leg, and it should be going to the ground. And make sure you have your ground hooked up like this here, this ground here. Now, I'm going to assume from here on out that this ground is hooked up. And then you should be okay after that. Is it not working, Tyson?
Unmuted.
Is it not working, Tyson?
No, it works right now, I'm sorry. My 9 and 10 plugs it shows 9 and 10. I accidentally plugged it in 8 and 9, but
Okay.
now the 10's flashing, sorry.
Okay. Cool. All right, now I'm put up this error. Show for rows, blah, blah, what? Sketch, void setup. Okay. So, Mr. Murray, you're having some, I don't know what happened there. Whoops, not that code. Don't worry about that code yet. All right. So it's saying that you have LED was not declared in this scope. So that's saying that that's telling me you don't have this line, or you don't have a semicolon at the end of it. There you go. And then once you change that and say int LED equals 10, make sure you change this to LED. These two here, where I have eagle, change it to LED, and then it should work. And don't forget the semicolon. All right, Wade, is yours working? Your hand, keep it up for me. I'll put your hands down, sir. Keep it up so I'll know. Mr. Roseman? Cool, Jacob. Is it working? Okay. All right. So we only have one light shining right now. We only have one light turning on and off. Now, don't do anything yet. Let me take a few minutes here to explain a few things here. First thing, I know I briefly covered it last class, but these commented sections, this is just information for the user. It's not understood by the computer in any shape, way, or form. The computer reads this and jumps around it, jumps over it. So and these are get to be important. Like I have literally written codes that I have no idea what the heck they do because I did not comment my own codes, and I'm too lazy to go figure out what it is in which I was doing. So these can be important to not only let you know what's going on, but let other people know after you what's going on. Now, when we get into writing our own codes, I'm going to be there'll be certain comments I will be specific I want you to have in there, and there'll be other ones I'll be like, you can put it in there if you want or not. All right. So here we declare this as an integer, as a pin 10, right? So in order to get the other code working, or the other LED working, we probably have to declare it, all right? So we're going to declare to the computer or to the Arduino that this other LED exists, all right? So here you put int, and in this case, I'm going to put LED equals 9 semicolon. Now, a few things after that are remember or hope, or let me explain this one a little bit more because I don't think I covered it in enough detail. These things here, these little braces here, this one, whoops, I didn't quite circle that one, and that one, these are very, very important. You got to keep track of where these things are at because your code only exists inside of these braces. If you put code outside of these braces, things get messy, and then awesome, Mr. Wade. Things get messy, and then a kitten dies in Bangladesh, and then you're responsible for a kitten dying, and then you feel bad. So just make sure you keep track of all these braces, all right? Because code only exists inside of these. And the same thing going for here. So here, the code only exists inside of these braces. If I put anything here, right, without some special little tricks, the computer goes crazy, and then a hippopotamus dies, all right? And you don't want to kill a hippopotamus. So let's get this other code working. So one thing I will always tell you, and as you get, programmers are lazy, all right? They are lazy, lazy, lazy. So we don't like typing a bunch of stuff. That's one reason why we do this here. So here, to get this other pin working, I'm just going to copy this. So I'm highlighting all of this, making sure I stay inside, making sure I don't get these braces. I don't get these braces. I just come up here, and I'm copying all this stuff. So I'm going to hit Control-C to copy. All right, now I'm going to come to the last part of where second is. This last part here, I'm coming right here, and I'm going to give myself some space to paste it. So I'm just going to hit Enter a few times. Keeping in mind that, see, what I'm doing is I'm moving this brace down. I'm moving that brace down so I can hit Control-V. I can paste the new code. And as long as I switch these names here to LED, our code should work just perfectly fine. LED, LED. I'm going to hit Upload, and hopefully both your lights start flashing. The integers, okay, the integers are part of the code, yes. Oh, yep, thank you, Mr. Wade. I forgot all about that. Oops. Mr. Wade called me. Good job, Mr. Wade. Yes, you do have to put this pin mode up here. Pin mode, LED, output. And then re-upload it, and then both your LEDs should be flashing. All right, raise your hands when you have that working. Cool. All right, if the first one is brighter than the second, you didn't put the pin mode in there. 1 second, Tyson, I see your comment. You didn't put this in there. All right, and Tyson, let me see, what does yours say? All right, int LED defines 9 and 10 in my code. All right, that's only because I used Eagle up here that I used LED here. So use something else here for your second LED, like _2 or something like that. All right, and you do have to have that underscore in there. Code doesn't understand spaces. I can't do that. The code will get confused and universe implodes and all that stuff. So for your second LED, put like LED _2, something like that. Why are they blinking alternatively? I will explain that. Okay, good job, Miss Elsie. Yes, they are supposed to blink alternatively from each other. All right, Mr. Roseman, Mr. Josh, and Mr. Tyson, I'm not seeing your hands up. What's going on? Hey, what's up, Tyson? Is it working yet?
Hey, what's up, Tyson? Is it working yet?
Yeah, I accidentally put on a colon or something else just where.
It happens. All right. So here we declared a new pin, we named that new pin, and we set it to an output, and it's going high and low. Now, even though you face palmed yourself, Miss Elsie, I'm going to explain it anyway. So why does they blink independently of each other or alternately from each other? Well, that's because, well, the code reads this way. So it reads this and then does this. It reads this delay and it does that delay. So it turns it on and keeps it on for 1 second. Remember, 1,000 is 1 second. And then so forth and so on. So low reads this, it turns it on, and then the code stops. That's what that means, that delay. The code literally stops for 1 second. Good job, Mr. Tyson. Right? And the same thing for the second part. Now, I do want to cover one thing here. And keep your breadboards plugged in and power on for this particular exercise. So, and Tyson, it's going to be a little bit, I don't think you're going to need this, but I think you already understand it. But I need to go through it with everybody else. So take that wire. So that wire that's in A1, I want you to take that A1 wire, just unplug it. And if you plug it into, I don't know, plug it into C1. All right, and then the code should continue to work just as it was. All right, if you just move it over in a row, if I plug it into D1, it's still going to work. If I plug it in back into A1, it's still going to work. All right, so the location on the breadboard does not, like when I'm calling out A1, A2, all that stuff, you kind of hook it up however you want to, as long as you understand the circuit and the principles behind it. So, and again, with that resistor, that same resistor that's plugged in, if I unplug it and now I'll plug it into A2, it still works. The code and everything about the circuit will still work. They're all the same thing, connected, the same point electrically. They're all connected to the same point electrically. All right, and you can even do this. You can even unplug that wire that's in A14. If you unplug that wire, of course, the code or that light's not going to flash. But if you take the metal part of that wire and stick it onto the long leg of that LED, right, your LED will continue to work just the same way it was doing before. All right. So I call out all those numbers and stuff like that just so y'all can hopefully start wrapping your head around the pattern. All right. Hopefully within the next few classes, y'all won't need me to do that anymore. But if y'all do have an issue with your circuit, we will break it down that way. So that way I'll know where you have everything hooked up. But if you take that pin, let's say that pin that we have plugged into pin 9 of your Arduino, if I take that, the wire that we have plugged into pin 9, if I unplug that and just say I plug it into pin 5, well, your code's not going to work. Why? Because, well, up here we're saying pin 9, right? But yet we have it plugged into pin 5, or actually I think I have plugged into pin 4, whatever. So if I change this code here to say 4, all right, it will continue to work. It will work It will just keep doing and staying. But I have to tell it what to do. All right. So for any of y'all that might have issues with, control freaks, you should love coding because it does not do anything unless you tell it what to do. You are the boss of the code. All right. Sometimes codes will be the boss of you, but that's only when you get to thousands and thousands of lines. But all right. So, and here how much time again? Here we're going to introduce the concept of looping. So if we were to continue this path, this pattern, right, and hooked up, as Mr. Tyson has, 8 LEDs, well, our code's going to get kind of long, all right? This is going to get all this stuff here. I'm going to have 8 of these, and they'll be all the way down. It gets kind of confusing and gets to be a cluttered mess, and nobody likes a cluttered mess, all right? Even though my room's a cluttered mess, and you don't like it. So there is a way around that. And here, I'm going to go ahead and get into that. Does that make sense about the breadboard what I was trying to explain there? Y'all get what I was saying? As long as you see the pattern and hook it up the circuit correctly, it does not matter what I say. Did that help drive it home a little bit more? Cool, I got a few yeses. 2 yeses, and apparently everybody else is still confused. All right, cool. Again, it's all about how it's connected electrically. All right. So here, we already did this. Programming 2 LEDs. You copy, you paste. LED pin. And again, even where I have LED pin 1, that name doesn't necessarily matter. I can say anything I wanted to there. I can say Eagle. I can say Goo Gobbler, I can say Booger Snatcher, whatever I want to, the code doesn't care. All right? As long as I'm consistent throughout. As long as I'm consistent throughout, it does not matter. So here, let's see if y'all can do this now. So there's a circuit I want y'all to try to hook up. Without me breaking it down for you, just because I can't handle that would take forever. And it looks like they have that plugged in though on the Arduino. It's from pins. Looks like 9 to 2. Yep, 9 to 2. So go ahead and start plugging this up. All right, and unplug your Arduino for this. Unplug your Arduino for this. All right, and then as you're doing it, I'm going to do it too. So I'm just not going to call it out every step of the way. Make sure you follow the pattern though. The long leg of the LED corresponds to wherever you have it plugged in here. All right, wherever you have it plugged in there. So a whole bunch more LEDs. All right, and you can make them alternating colors if you want to, whatever, doesn't matter. And I think it makes it a little bit easier if you go ahead and plug in the components, the LEDs and a resistor, and then start plugging in the wires. That's just me though, that's just my preference. It's up to you. If something goes wrong with your circuit, we'll figure it out. Where's my resistors? There they are. With wires, yes, with wires. The color of the wires does not matter. Color of the wires does not matter. Good question though, Jay. I'll call you Joe. Don't be afraid to space stuff out to give yourself room. Oops, I about messed up. all live long day. I'm gonna mess something up, 'cause I think I already did. Raise your hands when you think you have your circuit hooked up. Flash your hands if you're tired of me singing. I said flash your hands. All right, I'll stop singing. Or did you have a question, Josh? All right, cool, Tyson. Double check your grounds for me, sir. One, two, three, four, 5, 6. And you can go to the other side. Like I said, don't be afraid to give yourself the space. If you do, I'll explain that one here in a minute. So here I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 LEDs, and my breadboard's already a little bit cluttered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to the other side and start using it to plug in the rest of my LEDs. All right, I'm going to do it the exact same way. Plugging everything in the ground, and the ground on that side. I'm plugging it in to the ground on the opposite side, and then I'm going to jump a wire over there, and I'll explain that one here in a minute. Let me get my system hooked up here. How much time I got? 10 minutes. Hopefully we can get through this. All right, so now since I've got stuff on the other side, I'm going to grab another green wire out. Another green wire. All right, and then from the opposite side here, so what I'm going to do is now you can draw it on here for you, because that gets kind of really cluttered really quick. So let's say I'm on this side, and I'm going to plug a green wire into here and jump it over into here. All right. It's 8 LEDs, Mr. Roseman. And then plug in all your wires. And when you plug in your wires, they do start at 10 and they go down to 2. So it's from 10 to 2. And by now your breadboard is already starting to get cluttered. So this is pretty much how I got good at this. I hooked up a whole lot of circuits like this and made a whole bunch of mistakes. Tried a few things too. One time I set my shirt on fire. I wish that was a joke. Might not have time to code this. I don't know, it depends. Y'all want to stay a little bit over, or y'all want to hold off on coding to the next class? It's up to you. All right, Tyson. I hear you, brother. All right. I got a few votes, and I'll tally the votes here in a minute. 10 to 3. I'm sorry, did I say 8 or 10 to 2? 10 to 3. Keep forgetting about that whole binary thing. Make sure I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. All right. Let me know when you have the circuit hooked up. And yeah, I got one that says that. Yeah. All right. We'll play with this circuit next class. I'd rather y'all understand it than me rush through it. Well, I'll tell you what. How about this? Go ahead and hook up this circuit, and using what I want y'all to go ahead as a fun, hopefully a fun homework assignment, one that you won't be graded on. You don't have to worry about turning in. Is I want you to be able to turn all these LEDs on. I want you to turn on all these LEDs, and hopefully everything will work and all that fun stuff. So y'all think y'all can handle that? Y'all make these LEDs flash on and off. Do it however you choose to do it. I think there's a PDF. I think there's a PDF up on Edmodo of the actual code, but I'll break the code down. We'll try it before you look at the code, and then we'll break down the code next class, and I'll explain to you all that fun stuff, what's going on there. That sound like a fair deal? All right. But try it on your own first. Try to get all those lights flashing on and off at even different rates if you wanted to. Ooh, I got something we can do for next class. Yeah, I got an idea. But I do want to make sure everybody has a circuit hooked up. And y'all did not remind me last class, so I'm curious about this one. Still think I'm going too fast, but y'all be the judge. All right, cool. Appreciate that. Some people saying too fast, some people saying too slow, but the majority of the people are saying good. And we'll do one more, and then I'll stop putting my social anxiety out on you. All right, Mr. Jacob, Mr. J, Mr. Josh, y'all think y'all have that? Y'all think y'all have that circuit hooked up correctly? Hey, Sienna. All right, so what, all right, Josh is raising his hand. What do you think you missed, Jake? I'm sorry, Roseman, Mr. Murray. Jay, Mr. Nance.
Yeah.
What do you think you messed up on?
I was just screwing around trying to add the rest of them too, and I just made a mistake. I added the rest of the void loop, but I didn't put the integer part in. So.
All right. How about we will call Jacob Roseman Jake, and we'll call Jacob Murray Jacob. Deal. I can deal with that. So, Mr. Roseman or Jake, you're Jake or Jake Roseman, Jacob Murray, you're good Jacob. Cool. Good compromise there, Mr. Murray. Now you know I'm going to be switching between Jacob and Mr. Murray too. But Oh, I still got that thing up, don't I? You've done better. Okay, thanks. Whoever gave me that honest feedback, I appreciate that. All right. So what do the main thing here? The circuit that's on the screen now, or that you should be seeing now. That's the circuit you should be hooking up. Okay, cool. All right. The main thing is, y'all think y'all at least grasp the idea of the breadboard and the circuit now? Is there anything missing in your head that and I don't care how stupid a question it might be. Go ahead and ask it. Let's get it out of the way. So everybody thinks they kind of grasp the concept, but I'm getting the same point electrically. When I say the same thing electrically, it means it doesn't matter which row I plug it in or which part I plug it into, as long as it's on the same row. The same way you got all those grounds hooked up. Hopefully y'all understand that little trick I did there where I jumped the wire. Get my pen. Where I took this wire and then just jumped it over here. And that means that this row, this entire row, and this entire row, if I did this, they're still the exact same point electrically. All right, the electrons don't care. They move so fast, they can jump over that. They're quick little buggers. They're not as fast as light. They're only about 99% as fast as 97%. Why can't they be as fast as light? Anybody know? Because nothing can be as fast as light. They wouldn't lose all material size. They would actually gain so much mass that they couldn't go any further. And the whole photons, you're not wrong, Jay. Jay said because they would lose all material size at that speed. Photons don't have mass, they do. The whole whether or not photons have mass thing is still predominantly no, they don't. The standard convention, but there are still some that say they do. Because it moves faster than light and makes. Because if it moves faster than light and then makes light, then the speed it gains, it will add to the speed of light, like throwing a ball in a moving car. Cool. All right. Did you do the pin mode, Jay? Make sure you do the pin. If your LEDs aren't lighting up brightly, yes, everybody can go. It's past 11 o'clock. If your LEDs are not lighting up brightly, make sure you put the pin mode output. Dennis, I want to comment on what you said. So the speed of light has no attributing factor to how fast it goes. Meaning, if I shine a car out of a flashlight, it's still going the speed of light. The speed of the car is not adding to the speed of the light. So if I had a flashlight in a car going 100 miles an hour, and I shine the flashlight, the speed of that flashlight is not going the speed of light plus 100 miles an hour. Just want to clarify that. The way you phrase that. Yeah, will mess your head up in physics if you don't understand that. Yeah, speed of light's constant. It's fast. I can't remember how fast. All right, y'all. I'm going to bid y'all good night, and I'm going to stay up all night doing physics homework. So I will bid y'all good night, and I will talk to y'all next week. Is everybody enjoying this class still? Wait, are you the guy who did the Unity tutorials? Yes, I am that guy. Why do you ask, Jay? Did you not like them? Or wait, have you done the Unity tutorials yet? Okay, we'll cover. I think we're gonna get into Unity this semester. I hope so. If I remember, I'm not gonna have time to put up any more videos. Just put my voice together. You just saw the uploading video and realized it's the same voice. Don't be watching my Ice Bucket Challenge. Can't know what I look like, Jay. I'm top secret. For the Unity class, where do I sign up for that? You know what? People keep asking about that. Let me find out from Mr. Dubik whether or not for a fact we are going to do Unity this semester or not. I know he wants me to do a few things with it because he has Oculus Rift, and we're going to try to tie Oculus Rift into Unity, but I haven't had a chance to do any of that stuff yet. I will find out if we're going to do that this semester or next semester. I know one of these semesters we are doing Unity. I know that for a fact. And I'm going to change it up a little bit from what I did last year because, yeah, I don't think I did that good of a job last year explaining certain things about it. Certain people who will remain nameless, I think, got a little bit frustrated with me. All right, y'all. I am actually going, unless y'all have any other questions for me. Nope. Going once. Going twice. All right, what's up, Josh? You almost missed it there. And by the way, y'all can talk in class. Just have to flash your hand back and forth. Cool, Mr. Dennis. I already talked to Tom about that. He said he's going to think about it. All right, so I did not forget about you, man. I talked to him. He's going to think about it. We're going to try to come up with some type of plan. Yep, I did get about you, man. I didn't have a definite answer for you, so I didn't tell you. But I did talk to him. You know what? After this class, you should be able to make your own hand. How about that? Yeah, when we get into the servos, I'll make a little certain special notes just for you, man. All right, y'all. Any other questions? Dennis, Mr. Murray, Mr. Celsi. Physics, science, math, anything, engineering. Going once, going twice, and how would you make the lights stay on at the same time? All right, let me take a minute real quick. If you want to, whoops, wrong code. If you want to make them stay on at the same time, you have to pretty much just get rid of the low. Just delete all the low functions here. Or not even delete them, maybe comment them out like this. And then that light will stay on forever and ever. And get rid of the times too. Just leave it like that. High, 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 high. And then they'll all stay on at the same time. But you can't get them to flash at the same time because there's no parallel processing. I'll explain more about that next class, Josh, or Dennis. That's more, you'll get a better understanding of that when we get to the loops. All right, y'all. I am going to bid y'all adieu.